This is the XRD RADIX 1-year overview reading for the year of 2025. It's currently May 20th, 2024, 6:39 p.m. Eastern Time. XRD at the time of this reading is currently 0.04590587, or just over 4.5 cents USD. The shuffle video for the XRD reading was created on March 9th, 2024 at 5:40 p.m. Eastern Time. That's the video playing in the lower left corner. The overall theme of behavior for XRD in the year of 2025, there's an unexpected move to the upside that'll really stand out on a multi-year scale. It's crossed with the halting of a bullish trend marked by a sharp decline through key support. Again, that's on a multi-year scale. Behavior around the highest high or highs for the year. We have a really notable move to the upside. Sometimes when you see the adjustment card, it's indicating a gap up. Sometimes it's just a really big move. Sometimes it's a huge move out of oversold territory, like a short squeeze or something. Less likely to be the case when it's in the high correlation position, but it's probably a pretty big move to the upside into the highs, possibly even a gap up. And then behavior around the lowest low or lows. There's a lot of volatility around the lows. We probably see more than one low. And it looks like there is an unexpected move on a multi-year scale standing out that starts out of the low as well, out of the lower lows. Interesting. And looking at it now, it might even be that we go right from a low to a high there. It's possible. We'll look at that in more detail as we progress through the reading. But before I get into the week-by-week chart behavior, as well as timing the highest highs, the lowest lows, and the best trade opportunities, I just want to make sure everybody's aware. The whole purpose of the channel is to transmute some of the competitive energy of the stock market into goodwill. We do that by following the rule of karma for the channel. You go to the resources tab of our website, Tarot for Traders, and 5% of the profits from every profitable trade utilizing this information should be donated forward to one of these charities, or pick a charity of your choosing, as long as you're paying 5% forward, and then 5% should be sent back to the channel through one of these links. If you're international, you can use Wise, or you can use YouTube Tips. And that leaves you at 90%. Make sure to spend that 90% out of love. As long as you follow those rules, you follow the rule of karma for the channel, the universe considers you an angel investor. It's going to send it back to you tenfold for following through. Blessings to all my angel investors. So let's get back into it. Okay, in January, we have an important price level on a multi-year scale that's highlighted, usually acting as resistance. Not always, but an important price level there on a multi-year scale that's going to be highlighted. There's a big move to the upside standing out there. And it looks like it probably starts out of a decline. So like there's a trough there on a one-year chart scale in the early part of January, and a big move out of it, probably to reach for that price level. Either the low there is the science card, or more like have a big move out of the low to reach for the science price level. The January high forms when out of a decline. There's a fast sudden move higher marking the end of that decline, and then in the later part of January we have sideways rotation along the chart scale. We rise to meet the nearest resistance, and then fall back down and continue rotating sideways. One thing to point out about the January low card being the Ace of Swords, indicating that we're going to see price level of the low of the January low more than once. It may be in January, it may not be in January. We'll see as we progress through the reading. In February, we have a notable move to the upside that'll stand out on a one-year chart scale. We break through a key resistance level, stay above it briefly, and then break back down through that same price level with a full retracement, creating like a capital A in the English language if that price level was the horizontal line through the A. Behavior around the February high, we have a notable decline through multiple support levels. Out of the February low, we have a big move pushing the upper end of the range higher. In the later part of February, we have a rally that offers some trade opportunity, which I will get into in more detail in the paid version. There's an important resistance level highlighted in the early part of March. It's resistance that we failed to break through many times before. The March high forms likely towards the end of March, and it's an overbought crest that we sell off from through multiple support levels. Very likely this is our first highest high for the year, and it'll form in some bearish price swings off of that overbought crest, or there'll be a sharp drop that'll stand on a one-year chart scale off of that high. The March low, out of the March low, there's a rally along a diagonal trend line breaking through horizontal resistance on a multi-day scale to meet another resistance, and then we pull back to somewhere between those two price levels. And it looks like there's some really like whipsaw action going on here. Some whipsaw action going on between this high towards the end of March and the low at the beginning of April. The fortune card in the beginning of April indicating a notable reversal on a one-year chart scale really standing out. The April low, we have a decline that offers opportunity. I'll talk about in more detail in the paid version. It's also the April low is also within close time proximity to a prominent peak for the year. We have probably our next highest high in April, probably mid-April. So very likely we go from a highest high thus far in March to a lowest low in April, followed by a highest high again thus far in April. Off of the April high, there's a significant decline. It'll really stand out. And then the later part of April, we have a rally that increases with momentum moving forward in time. Volatility in the early part of May that ends with a fast sudden move higher. Off of the May high, we have a decline to and through support to meet another support on a multi-day scale, and then we rotate sideways along that second support. There's a pretty notable trade opportunity there. I'll talk about in more detail in the paid version. And near the May low, we have three crisscrosses back and forth through the same price level. Usually that third cross is to the upside, confirming a bullish trend. The later part of May, the Prince of Disc indicating quite a bit of sideways rotation along key support on a one-year chart scale. So my sense is that we probably start off at near a May low in a period of volatility. There's a fast sudden move higher taking us to the May high and ending that volatility. That fast sudden move higher is then followed by a decline to and through support to meet another support, and then rotating sideways along key support. At some point, however, that sideways rotation will turn into a rally. We have a prominent peak that'll stand out in early June. That'll stand out on a one-year chart scale. Prominent peak that we sell off from pretty notably into very likely a lowest low again here in mid-June. And there's a significant move to the upside. It'll really stand out on a one-year chart scale out of the low. The June high, we probably see a June high twice. We decline from it. and then do a reversal, return back to it, and then reverse and go back to where roughly where the first reversal took place. So it's like a sideways S formation. The later part of June, we have a decline offering trade opportunity. I'll talk about it in more detail in the paid version. And later part of June, we also have a prominent peak on a 1-year chart scale highlighted. Guys, I don't know if you've been following us or not, but these 1-year readings, I mean, we've been doing 1-year readings since 2022, and we're averaging roughly 95% accuracy, meaning that out of 100 statements made, 95% of them will be accurate. What you get in the paid version, it's really, first off, a really great way to support the channel by purchasing the paid version. If you're utilizing this information to trade, it's really the right thing to do anyways. But with that said, what you get in the paid version are the timing of the best trades that we see, as well as what to look for as far as chart behavior into and out of those trades. So you get like the general timing of the trade, and then what chart behavior to look for to place that trade as like a signal into or out of the trade. Very valuable stuff, guys. For the most part, these are very profitable trades. We're not right all the time, so never bet like we are. Otherwise, you would end up regretting it. But if you bet responsibly, you'll come out on top very, very frequently. Great way to support the channel. You get the paid version here. It's already been ordered, so you go to our services, estimate post, scroll down to 1-year report, click your order, and you click on choose one or discount because they've already been done. Roughly like a 48-hour turnaround. You basically just pick which one you want. There's some 2025s in there as well, and there'll be some 2026s in there pretty soon. As we release them, as people order customs, we put out 1 years, we add them to the list. You can order any of them here at a discounted price. Or if you're interested in a ticker that we're not covering or they're not covering, click on 1-year report, click your order, click on custom report, specify the year, specify the ticker crypto, add a card, great way to support the channel, well undervalued, under price, and finally you can go by getting the 1-year report, 1 total access numbers. It's our top tier subscription. You go to estimate post, scroll down total access, click your order. This gets you access to the paid version of basically everything that we have, all the 1 years that we have, and as they come in, you get access to all of those, and you also get access to the monthly paid versions of the monthlies that regularly come out every month, as well as any one-offs that people order that we throw out there. All that you get with the total access subscription. Best way to support the channel. Much appreciation. Everybody does that. Love you guys. There's also a special going on where you can get if you buy 2 1-year reports for 2025, you get a free, it's a $500 discount basically. You get a free one for that. So much appreciation that everybody does that. Let's get back into it. Okay, so this is most likely where we have our highest high for the year. Well, actually, there's some possibility of one more location we'll get into, but this is likely the highest high thus far. Either it's the same high that we've already seen, or it's a higher one. And we have an important price level highlighted in the early part of July, where volume kind of like flattens out. The July high forms when we have a move through key resistance, we stay above it briefly and then break back down through it shortly thereafter. The July low forms when we rally into key resistance and then we turn around and we return back down into a low. And then the later part of July, we have an important support level on a multi-year scale that's highlighted. Generally speaking, when you see the Emperor card, it's indicating support level that you can rely upon. Not always the case, but usually. But what you can be certain of is that it's going to be an important support level on a multi-year scale there. In the early part of August, we have a sideways fluctuating rally that precedes a decline. There's a prominent trough on a 1-year chart scale within close time proximity to the August high. And the August high forms when we have a failed attempt to break through key resistance on a multi-day scale, followed by a decline through key support on the multi-day scale. So we do like the sideways rotation, sideways fluctuating rally into a failed attempt to break through resistance, a decline through key support. The August low forms when we revisit a support level with some sideways rotation and a sharp drop that'll take us to a support level we recently met. And in the later part of August, we have sideways rotation that ends with a fast sudden move higher. In early September, we have a rally along a diagonal trend line that ends with a fast sudden move higher somewhere towards the end of the first week or the beginning of the second week. A fast sudden move higher and then a breakdown through that diagonal trend line with increasing volatility on the way down. Looks like that breakdown off of a peak starts in the middle of the month. The September low, there's a rally out of that September low that offers opportunity. I'll talk about in more detail in the paid version. And then the later part of September, we have sideways fluidity, equal amounts of bulls and bear inflow and outflow. Generally speaking, you end up kind of like flat from where you started, but there can be a lot of back and forth, up and down in between, making it to that flat kind of movement. In early October, we have a near overbought crest or peak that we sell off from through multiple support levels. There's a prominent trough on a 1-year chart scale at the October low where we attempt to establish support. There's something significant here, but I'm having difficulty reading it. Like often this kind of situation will indicate a high or a low, but very difficult to read which one of those it is here. I think it's really giving me more of a directional thing. This is for a trade, I see. Okay, I'll talk about this in more detail in the paid version. But the October high forms when we have a prominent move higher on a 1-year chart scale and then a full retracement of that move back down. It does look like there's 2 highs, so we probably have like a prominent move higher, full retracement, prominent move higher, full retracement. The later part of October, off of that second peak, there's a decline to and through support to meet another support. We do a U-shaped reversal below that support and then come back and reuse it as support. In November, we have a rally that turns over, so usually it's kind of like a hump sort of shape where you start off like this and then you turn over. The completion card. Multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance around the November high. The November low will form near an important range on a 1-year chart scale. Will form near the bottom of an important range on a 1-year chart scale. And then the full card indicating a lot of price change and an improbable opportunity there. Looks like we might have a low there. Like if there's an important low on a 1-year chart scale, it might be that we see the lowest lows again. Hard to say, but there's an important low there. A lot of price change in the later part. It looks like after the multiple failed attempts to break through key resistance, most likely in the earlier part of November, rally turns over. We decline pretty notably into the bottom of a range on a 1-year chart scale, and then there's a notable reversal and a big move to the upside in the later part of November. That'll really stand out. Maybe out of a trough in the later part. The trough might be in the later part of November, and the big moves out of it could take place like into December. There's a big move to the upside in early December out of a trough, an important trough on a 1-year chart scale. Taking us to the prudence card at the high for the month of December, where we should see multiple false tops or some sort of tricky chart behavior with sideways rotation, and then the unicursal indicating a notable place to open up a short position will decline from that location, increasing with momentum moving forward in time in the later part of December. It does look like the December low forms when we successfully turn resistance into support, so December low is probably higher than the November low, and mid-month of December is probably where we see that unicursal decline commence. Looks like there's a really big move in the middle of December. The sneak preview for 2026, we have 3 pokes through the same trend line, followed by a sharp drop off of the third poke. Generally speaking, kind of bearish, and there's a prominent peak on a multi-year scale that'll stand out there in 2026 as well. That's XRD for 2025. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. As always, my friends, make sure to follow that real karma. You know where to go, you know what to do. Blessings to all my angel investors. Stay tuned if you got the paid version. We're going to get into the best trades that we see momentarily.